But, of course, Fortnite did pick him up pretty early on in the draft selection mode, robbing them of that option. But just the way the came down from CLG, it seems like they came into this game wanting that lineup, that Vladimir Kennen lineup with the tanky, kind of support nature of Graves and Shyvana to back them up and do that continuous amounts of damage all throughout the course of a team fight.
Yep, so while we're waiting for Chas to get back into the room and to get this game started, I just want to remind everyone this is the LeagueCraft ggClassic presented by Arcade, formerly known as gaming.stackexchange.com. And Arcade is a great website. It's a Q&A website for video games, not just League of Legends, but also Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, stuff like that. So you can go in there, ask a question. Maybe you want to know, I think I once asked a question, if you use Resonating Strike with Lee Sin on a Vlad and a Vlad pools, can you use the second part of it? So something like that. Just, gameplay questions. I think a lot of you have probably already seen the ad that's been running with the question, how do you deal with an AP cog as Rise? So stuff like that. And it's a great website. Definitely check it out for League of Legends and for other games too.
Yeah, speaking of AP Cog, we've seen a couple of it played to great effect. I think we saw it by CLG Black in the last game over on Stream 1 by Link, and we also saw Froggen pick that up. And actually, Froggen unfortunately lost with his Kog'Maw, but was 8-0 until the final seconds of the game, where he did finally die in the last team fight. Ended up 8-1, but his team unfortunately did lose. So the poke comp still alive and in effect. Kog'Maw not nerfed out of viability. It certainly was very effective. But there were a couple times, where I think, had it done that extra 25% damage or however much they nerfed it, he would have picked up kills, where in this game he did not pick up the kills, and that could have been the difference made. So Kog'Maw still certainly viable as an AP middle. Obviously, always has been viable as an AD champion. We don't see him too much more in that AD role, though, which is surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we see, Kog'Maw being shown. I think every time Kog'Maw's been picked up, it's been AP in this tournament so far. I don't think we've seen a single AD carry Kog'Maw.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's only been that 2 times, and I'm pretty sure those were the only 2 times. I haven't been able to catch every game, unfortunately, because I've been casting on opposite streams on occasion. But yes, certainly, like you mentioned, the AP Kog'Maw more popular than the AD Kog'Maw, and we do have Chowster out. I don't know what exactly they're trying to get fixed here, but we're just kind of waiting for them to get back into the game, and we will go whenever they are ready to let us go.
Yeah, and he's actually taking a while now, so I think I'm going to have to ask them what's going on.
Type. Yeah, so we are trying to figure out what the issue is. We may have to run a little bit of an ad here or there and play some music if we have an extended delay. Otherwise, we'll jump back into the game. Obviously, the picks and bans were made. I don't really have too much to say more about it. And as soon as there's Chowster, he does return to the game. And of course, CLG has a great team fight presence with the Kennen and Vladimir ultimate. They did pick both those champions after Fortnite had already picked Janna, and the one issue with that, of course, is Janna has her Monsoon that can blow them out of that AoE area. Certainly you can avoid the Monsoon if you have, for instance, a Zhonya's, then Kennen will not get blown out and make his Slicing Maelstrom worthless, but before he picks up that item, he is in danger of his ultimate being reset by Janna's ultimate, essentially.
Yep, so it's like we have to wait 2 more minutes while they get everything set up. Actually, Hotshot says he's ready. So I think we'll get started pretty soon.
There we go, and we are back into the game. I believe all the picks and bans stay as standard as we already noticed them previously, and we will just get into the game real quick. Like, these bans are not actually what happened. We had more usual bans. These are just troll bans because, of course, they just want to get through this as quick as possible. They already know all the champions they are going to select, so it looks like it is going to be a jungle Lee Sin. And another reason like Lee Sin took a number of minor nerfs, and then for the longest time, even after those nerfs, he was banned in solo queue, which meant that you couldn't really practice him in that forum. So if you can't practice him in that forum, you might not practice him quite as much in scrims and expect him to be banned out in tournaments. And so I think a lot of people got out of practice with him as well. So that's kind of an important thing to note. Not only has his viability been questioned, but the ability to play him has been taken out because he can stomp those solo queue games with those really early ganks that just can decimate a lane, especially that top lane, help it snowball and go out of control.
Yep, so it does indeed look like it's going to be a Kennen mid and a Vlad top instead of the other way around, as Voyboy is on Vladimir and Big Fat is on Kennen.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I think I believe that's what I said. This would be the more common pairing with that Kennen mid. Of course, Big Fat really good Kennen, Voyboy really good at every single top lane champion there is. Although I don't know if he plays Jace. I haven't been watching his stream lately. I wouldn't be surprised if he is good at Jace. We have seen Rain Man playing Jace. He's actually playing Jace at the present moment on the other stream, going against TPA. Rain Man, of course, subbing in for MTWNA, and we will actually have him on this stream on Channel 2 coming up right after this game. So a lot of excitement from this ggClassic. We are in the group stages. The LeagueCraft ggClassic brought to you by Arcade, and we will be going through all of today. There's still a number of games left for you, and also into this evening and into next weekend, where we'll have the final stage. Fortnite right now is sitting at 1 and 2. Only 2 of the 6 teams will move on to the finals. So that 1 and 2 score is certainly going to need to be improved. If they don't pick up this game, they are essentially eliminated from the possibility of moving on to the final. So there's a lot riding on them. And CLG, I'm sure they've been practicing, today, but their first game of this tournament, so maybe there'll be a little bit of rust. We shall see, and we'll also see how they deal with the lag. They are, of course, playing from Asia.
Yep, and while we're waiting, I think they still have a little bit of time left while they can change their summoners, but right now it's showing Graves with Cleanse and Chester with the Clairvoyance, so a pretty passive summoner skill set for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I see in chat some people talking about CLG EU. Unfortunately, CLG EU is not advancing to the finals round. Curse NA won the tiebreaker yesterday, so it's Curse NA and Team Dynamic coming in from Group A. And so far in Group B, MTWNA has looked good. Orbit, who actually won the Leaguepedia just a week or two ago, is essentially eliminated as they've gone 0-3 today. Hopefully they do play through their final couple of games so we can bring those to you. And they're a stellar team, but just today not having the best of luck.
Yep, and these group stages with 6 teams and only 2 teams advancing can be very tough. Yesterday we saw a tiebreak or 3-way tie for the second place spot, and I mean CLG EU was very deserving, but the tiebreaker meant that Curse got to move on. So I mean, there's a lot of good teams here, and not all of them are going to be able to make it, but we should be able to see a lot of good games as they try to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking a gander at all these runes and masteries. Nothing too unusual. We see some physical damage, attack speed, and armor pen coming down from Hotshot GG Shyvana. So that's a really rounded out mastery page. It's actually running 10% magic penetration from Arcane Knowledge, so running a 921 build, but not going for that armor penetration or the attack speed, but instead the cooldowns and the magic penetration. So that is interesting. I'm not sure that is the standard way to build them. And over on Takashi, what do we have there? Is he running anything unusual? Nope, just quite a bit of movement speed, some health per level, some magic pen, magic resist, a little bit of armor, and some scaling magic resist. So again, a very well-rounded out page, I suppose is what you call it. Zekent running regular AP runes on the Janna. We'll be running that solo lane Janna. I'm still intrigued as to see which lane they will decide to send him in, and whether CLG Black, or rather CLG Prime, knows that's their plan, and whether they're going to try to counter it with moving their lanes around as well.
Yep, so those are the rune pages, and I'm really excited to see this Janna and see how it works, because I mean, I've liked AP Janna for a while now, but I mean, we just have to wait and see how they incorporate it into this team with the teleport especially.
Yeah, absolutely. AP Jana, very, very incredible. Very great to see in solo queue. Is it going to work against a team of CLG's caliber, who, time and time again has been up against, similar compositions, or rather, different compositions? They've certainly had a lot of experience under their belts. One of the most experienced professional teams in League of Legends. Perhaps tied with TSM, but certainly it will be interesting to see how they combat this solo lane Janna, and whether or not they will be stymied by it slightly, or will they just steamroll over it? Because Janna is a great 1v2 solo laner. She's actually not stellar 1v1. She'll be able to get the farm, but it's not like she'll be expected to pick up kills, and she doesn't have that ignite to go along with her to help pick up gank assists. So that is one of her downfalls. She's not going to be the strongest solo laner, but if you do get that 1v2 matchup and give the advantage to one of your other lanes, it is stellar.
Yep, so we're getting into game just now, and we'll be able to see all of the skins. I think I'm getting a little bug again, so I will be in game shortly, and then I'll have this up for you. Meanwhile, you can take a look at the bumpers, because my little game thing isn't cooperating.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
Are we going to leave our voice on?
Meanwhile, Sotier can explain what's going on in the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do see a full 5 for 5 skins from Fortnite, so I think that's actually a first in this tournament. Dragon Fist, Lee Sin, Hex Firefighter, Persona, Armor of the Fish Age, Tarek, and Jack of Hearts, Twisted Fate. So really good lineup there. Not the full lineup of skins coming from CLG, and we do have a pause immediately when we enter into this game. We shall see what happens. I do see some people in chat being like, oh, that Kennen ultimate seems like it's not going to be super effective once they have Tristana's ultimate and Janna's ultimate can both counter that just to get him out of position. Not to mention, Lee Sin can do the same thing with his ultimate. So there's 3 ways that Kennen ultimate can be countered, but once Big Fat gets a Zhonya's, and I'm not sure if he's going to rush that or get a Will of the Ancients or Rylai's first, but it would make sense to rush, especially against this team, just so he cannot get knocked out of position by one of those 3 displacement ultimates.
Yep, so the game is paused for me. Is it still paused on your end?
It is still paused, yeah, one bad Brad. It seems to be having some connection issues. They're saying getting milk, no idea what is actually going on, so these should come up very, very shortly. We are into the game, but we are just sitting on the pause screen for one moment. So, I don't know, I guess this is a good time to mention and thank Arcade for bringing us these games. Of course, very exciting to be able to get, the Taipei Assassins, CLG EU in here, and CLG Prime playing all the way from Asia. Great for them, and thank you so much to Arcade for allowing us to put up a prize pool big enough to encourage all these teams to play for us. So we certainly encourage you to check out our friends over there, arcade.com. That is ARQADE.com. It's a fantastic video game Q&A site. They do a great job of maintaining League of Legends reference material and material on pretty much every other game, including StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, and your favorites, even offline platform games. Certainly check them out if you have any questions or if you have answers, especially over these next 2 weeks while we're running the ggClassic. If you have a good question or good answer that has more than 5 upvotes, you are in the running in a raffle to win a $25 RP cards. There's actually at least 5 of those going up in the raffle, and a $250 video card or its equivalent. So certainly worthwhile to answer some questions over there, ask some questions if you've ever had anything that's been bugging you about League of Legends, and you automatically get a chance to win some prizes, which everyone, I believe, likes.
Yep, so that should be exciting. I see that One Brad has reconnected, or at least that's what it said. The game said to me.
Yes, it did say the same to me. We do say sorry, and then we say out of line and all this sort of stuff. I obviously do have my chat open. There is some silly things being said. I don't know whether you have it open or not.
I do not have the chat open, so...
Okay, probably better. Probably bad.
We are relying you to relay the relevant information, as I'm sure there is a lot of information that might not be as relevant to this game.
Yes, it's not too bad to say irrelevant. It does so happen that sometimes silly things are said in chat. In particular, Fortnite is always a very jovial team, always very funny in the pregame chat. Unfortunately, not we didn't have too much banter in the pregame chat here. I guess they were really planning their strategy. Of course, they did bring to the table a new kind of strategy, not for them, but just a new strategy, against CLG Prime on this stage. It is a new strategy. So we'll see if it works out. Like I said, they are 1-2 today. They really need to win their next 2 games to even have a chance to move on to the finals. And this game, of course, is going to be a test of their skills as CLG Prime, one of the best in the world, undoubtedly.
Yep, looks like Fornot is going for a little invade here. They're going to run into this bush. Kennen is actually going to run in and run into the team.
Oh,
and going to be caught. The gold card goes out and he gets caught and dies to Lee Sin. So first blood going to Fornot, going off with a bang, moving very quickly into that bush before Kennen could even get there.
Yeah, and that's really unusual because they had clairvoyance to see how fast they were moving out of base, and I guess it was just a mad dash to get out there, but Kennen did not beat them into that bush. Surprising because it obviously was on the other side of the map. It was on the map, side of the map favoring CLG, and so a really great invade. They didn't have to waste too many summoners either. Actually, they did not actually even ignite him or exhaust him. They were pretty confident in their ability to pick him up. Of course, they would have been able to follow him with that resonating strike from Lee Sin. So just a stellar job. No summoners wasted, just a 1-0 kill lead and a 600 gold for free, essentially, to start off this game. So certainly that is beneficial to Fornot. We do actually see Martel running over there, is spotted as he puts that ward in the Wraith bush. So Hotshot GG going to have to head bottom, and they do send Vladimir bottom.
Yep.
And their top lane is swapped up. So they are expecting that Janna planning on going on a solo lane, but how are they going to move on from here? And Fornot being very aggressive. Looks like they're going to counter the opposition's red buff. Big Fat does, however, see them.
Yeah, and Takashi X actually showing himself as he Shuriken going out to maybe try to poke them away, but they're keeping at it. There's 3 of them here. Graves and Soraka are doing small golems, so they are off to the side, but it looks like Fornot is going to be able to steal this red buff. And Takashi X...
It goes to Takashi in the end, which I'm not sure if that was ideal. Yeah, Big Fat certainly knew they were taking it, but didn't know exactly who was taking it outside of Takashi. So actually, yeah, they probably expected that Lee Sin was there, and that's probably a reason that that Kennen did not go in. But now Takashi being very, very aggressive, and it likely is going to get caught out here by Hotshot.
Yeah, Hotshot's going in with Shyvana, trying to go in, but Takashi goes up into the bush, and gold cards Hotshot, and Hotshot just has to get back.
Yeah, so great play, avoiding the gank there from Takashi. It looked like Hotshot was going to go invade, the opposing Reds. Did not do that, but now Hotshot's going to get invaded himself by one.
And he actually gets exhausted, and the gold card goes out. A lot of damage going out on Hotshot, and the ignite goes down, and now he's going to get caught out, and one bad Brad picks up yet another kill. So Lee Sin doing a great job picking up those kills.
Yeah, absolutely. Did get exhausted by Hotshot, but now Hotshot's ganking potential is severely limited throughout the rest of this game, or throughout the rest of the next couple of minutes, because obviously his red buff was stolen, Lee Sin has picked up his own red buff, and he does not have exhaust. And another thing is they didn't clear out that red buff camp, so that's going to mean even longer before Hotshot can really get back into the ganking game, as it were.
Yep, and looks like Shyvana might be going top, or is she gonna? Yep, she's just gonna go into her own small golems. But Tark is going to spot her with that ward, so he might be looking to do something here. Lee Sin's coming in, and he might go over this wall with his resonating strike. He actually misses it. He gets stunned by Tark, but Hotshot is able to be safe. Martel going back to support his AD carry, and Pearl takes a little bit of damage, but is back and should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course they still have Janna's teleport. Actually, Janna is using teleport just to get back into the lane just a little bit quicker, so good strategy there. Picks up another item and jumps back into lane. Does now have a ward to protect her, a Doran's ring, and a couple of health potions just to sustain longer in that lane. And Takashi X actually has blue buff now and red buff, so he is sitting very pretty, very excited about how this game is going so far. One bad Brad, of course, 2 kills under his belt. And like I said, this is a kind of a do or die game for Fornot, and so far they're more doing than dying.
Yep, and a great start for Fornot, but again, CLG is a great team. They can certainly come back from this early death, but one thing that I was interested in was if that pause might have affected Kennen being caught in that bush, because I mean, Fornot was able to get out there really quickly. Usually Kennen can, I mean, a champion on that team can get into that bush before the other team can get there.
Yeah, I'm uncertain. I mean, everyone said they were ready before the game was unpaused. Actually, in fact, it was Kenan that said he was ready when they asked him if they were ready to unpause the game. So I don't think that was part of it. I think Fortnite was just really, really determined to get out there. Obviously, Kenan got to the bush. The rest of his team was really far behind him now, and there was no defense for that. So unfortunate, but yeah, certainly I don't think it was a issue of that pausing.
Yeah, one Brad going into the enemy jungle once again. Shyvana's going to go into that red, going to clear that red finally, so it resets, and he's going to try to catch Hotshot here. Actually, he stays in the bush. Hotshot comes around and is going to try to gank Takashi X and gets caught. The gold card goes out, Resonating Strike hits, and actually missing that cripple, but that Tempest triple. But he is going to keep on chasing, using that ward but missing that Resonating Strike, and now actually finally gets it off, and now the kill going to Lee Sin. So Lee Sin with 3 kills in this early game. Now they're going to chase the Soraka down. Blue card going out, but Takashi X does have to back off. His grave is there as well.
Yeah, I mean, Soraka actually in a little bit of trouble there, does not even have boots, or of course Takashi does have boots, still has Ignite up, and now he's going to town on Double Lift. Double Lift does Buckshot, then back off. GG is just, content to farm up middle, does have 36 CS, so that's a little bit of a lead over Takashi there in the middle, but of course Takashi's been roaming around, been part of, 3 kills so far, has those 3 assists under his belt, not too bad, and now they're zoning out the top lane completely, and we're going to take more of Hotshot's jungle. So, I mean, of course, Hotshot kind of new to that top or to that jungle position, has been performing really well, but if there has been one complaint about him, it's that he doesn't really know how to, work effectively against that counter jungling as of yet. And we see Zekin actually getting dove down bottom.
Zekin actually using the ultimate to heal up and doing a very good job. Boy has to pull and get out of there as he takes too many tower hits, but a very good job using that using that ultimate to disengage and to get a lot of healing so that he stays alive.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like One Bad Brad's going to come down here. Boy not very healthy. Zekin actually does not have very much mana to help out, so it's going to be a one-on-one here between One Bad Brad and Boy.
The heal coming out, and Boy is going to try to get away, but he does get out. No, One Bad Brad isn't going to dive that. Gets some damage on him though, and forces him to back off.
Yeah, of course, that heal certainly helped Vladimir out. Also has a cloth armor already, so not taking as much damage from that physical attack as he might otherwise do. It looks like Hotshot GG taking his own blue buff, and he should know that means, red buff is up. One Bad Brad going to have to, secure that buff real soon.
Yep, One Bad Brad is going actually towards the enemy blue buff. Unbeknownst to him, Hotshot has just taken it, so he's not going to find anything here. Throws out that Resonating Strike, and actually he's going to go to the Wolves and catch him there. Now, this could be in trouble for Hotshot. He gets slowed, and TF coming in with that ultimate, and the yellow card goes out and does get taken out by One Bad Brad. Kenan coming in with the ultimate to do a lot of damage, but
does get knocked away.
Yep, a good disengage from One Bad Brad. Kenan coming around, maybe trying to keep on engaging, and gets that shuriken on One Bad Brad, but he's going to be able to get away just fine.
Yeah, so really great job catching Hotshot out again. Now Hotshot is 0-3, has 25 farm to 37.
Over at mid, we see Kenan being very aggressive, and actually is going to get him with that final little auto attack, and picks up a kill for CLG.
Yeah, so that is the first kill. Does get on the board. Didn't have his ultimate, but knew that he still had quite a bit of power left in his belt there. Of course, throwing down that ignite and finally picking up the kill, getting Takashi, and that'll certainly be nice. That's certainly something that CLG needed to come back here. The other lanes going pretty well. Vladimir and Janet dead even in farm so far. Top lane 54 to 64. So, despite the fact there's been a lot of shenanigans top lane, Double Lift actually coming out ahead in that farming battle.
Yeah, and it looks like they might go for a lane switch here because Parole and Martel are going towards the bot lane, or I mean they're making a stop at mid, but I don't know if they're actually going to stay here. So yeah, it looks like they're still sticking around, but I mean they're not top lane anymore. So we'll see if they decide to do a little bit of lane switching.
Well, Janna is heading up top, so most likely she's going to go top, and this gives them two great options. One, it gives them more control over Dragon, and if they get caught up in a lane switch, then they have Janna who can teleport down to bottom. And actually, they're going to go straight for this dragon. Is it warded? Does CLG know that this is happening? No, they have no sight on it. Now, actually, they do see ggClassic coming back up from dragon, but it is too late to interfere with that. So they do get a free dragon. That is 10 minutes in. We'll be back up at 16 minutes in. The rocket jump is pulled out of. So, Boy will be okay momentarily, and Janna happy to just push that lane up top. So now it's very unusual. Janna versus Kennen in that top lane. Vladimir, who knows where he'll go? Is he going to go middle or is he going to go top? And we also see Takashi roaming about a little bit.
Yep, putting that ward there to get better vision of the jungle. Both teams have the river very well warded. Looks like actually the Chauster is at middle, but he's going to go back down bot. So it's going to be the regular AD carry support bot lane as we see Boy going mid now instead of Kennen. So it's a sort of odd response as they switched up more than just the top and bot lanes.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wonder if they feel like Vladimir has a better matchup against TF. Of course, Kennen was doing really well against TF in that lane, but there could be a lot of things that could play into that.
One bad Brad is trying to take this red buff, but he's going to fight Hotshot GG, and now Vlad is coming up. TF is coming up to try to help, taking those raids actually, so he was in position to help, but one bad Brad is able to get out. They're a little bit scared of Lee Sin right now, as he is pretty strong, but so that was how he was able to get back fine.
Yeah, absolutely. He was 4-0, and now the top turret has been taken down just because of the earlier pushing, and of course Janna has been pushing, since she got up there, just clearing those waves, pushing them down. Now actually does have 82 farms, just pulled ahead of a lot of the solo lanes, double lift,
up at top, we actually see a good kick by Lee Sin, and Kennen uses that ultimate, but one Brad doing a great job picking up yet another kill, so he's doing a good job of snowballing that Lee Sin right now.
Yeah, really, 5-0 Lee Sin. Now, Lee Sin, we mentioned before the game, not known for scaling incredibly well into late game, but when he gets so many kills under his belt, he's going to be doing just fine. And now Zekin just pushing that lane in. Actually, we saw the TF ult being used, but he actually didn't have to go up top to pick up the kill or help pick up the kill, so he just decided to stay in his lane.
Hotshot going here, doing a little bit of counter jungling, but he's going to run into ggClassic, and ggClassic actually going to use a blue card to put a little bit of damage as the gold card just cycled out, but forces him away. But I mean, Hotshot did what he wanted to do, took those raids and backed off.
Yeah. Absolutely, and yeah, 88 CS for Tristana still is behind that Graves, but not too terribly. So the lanes are all going relatively well for Fortnite. That 5-1 lead, that Dragon pickup, that turret pickup, everything going pretty splendidly so far, and they're just going to continue their aggressive pushing, it seems, as they are going down middle. Takashi putting a lot of damage on that turret, and now Hotshot severely underleveled, level 6.
Oh, he's going to get caught out here as one by Brad and Martel are sticking around in the bush. Kennen coming around, trying to catch ggClassic, but now Hotshot is the one in trouble. He's going to get stunned by Martel and get that ult, and he uses Dragon Form to try to get out, but the gold card does go out, and one bad diving the turret, killing him very easily, and Big Fat is forced to get back.
I mean, on the one hand, it is a great thing that One Bad Brad has 6 kills, but on the other hand, you'd really hope some of those were going to the solo lanes as well, just to help them dominate their lanes. As it is, of course, he is a strong presence wherever he roams to, but I think they would prefer TF pick up some of those kills, maybe Janna, especially Tristana, but they do pick up that blue buff, and now they're roaming bottom as well. Takashi putting a little bit of damage on double lift and Chauster.
Yep. And they are forced to get back, so we'll see if they decided to try to push down this bot lane as well, as they've been very aggressive in their pushing, and it looks like they are going to. So a lot of damage going on this bot tower, and it actually is probably going to go down.
Yeah, and top lane still getting pushed by Zekin. Really good strategy just to aggressively get those turrets, get themselves a lead. 5,000 gold lead, and it's only 14 minutes in, so that is certainly huge for Fortnite. They also still have the trick of Zekin's teleport, so that could be up for the next dragon, perhaps. But of course, Baron hasn't even spawned, so they don't have to worry about that. And I don't even think they want a team fight. Their team is revolved around, hey, we can catch people out, we can jump them in the jungle, we can kill them very quickly, and we can teleport all around the map. So that's what they have going for them, and I think they'll just continue their strategy, keep on pushing, keep on gaining a lead, because they've been excellent at it thus far.
Hotshot coming over top lane, but Zekin is going to back up and probably recall. Has about 1,000 gold, so does have that cause like you picked to help generate some gold for her.
And we will see that Kage's Lucky Pick turn into an early Deathfire Grasp if my Zika knowledge is at all up to par. You know, on occasion runs Mage Eyes, on occasion runs Death Cat, but more and more lately has been running that earlier and earlier DFG just to get that earlier extra damage. Of course, Janna only has 2 AP rate scaling ratios offensively, and that is her Q and W, but that extra DFG just allows her to have that 3 spell burst, and she can like instantly take down some of the squishiers once she gains that extra AP. And Zeke also runs AP per level runes, so scales up a little bit faster than a lot of other APs who are afraid to do that. So since she can farm so safely from such a distance, that is a strategy they use. And we see One Bad Brat going up top, just pushing that lane, and they're just going to keep on pushing these lanes relentlessly. Fortnite Takashi down bottom has his ultimate back up, so they have a lot of presence all around the map now, and are just going to continue pushing these lanes, continue split pushing these lanes. And this reminds me of, I'm not sure if it was the Season 1 Championships. No, I think it was something before then. It might have been DreamHack 2 years ago, where CLG actually couldn't deal with the split pushing, and it might have been from SK at the time, but certainly it was a TF that was giving them fits because they really wanted to engage
actually down at the bottom, sorry, getting exhausted, but he is going to ultimate to get away and go to Dragon, actually using it for 2 purposes, to escape and to help with this Dragon. So Fortnite takes that second Dragon, doing a good job of taking objectives and increasing their global gold. So they've actually increased their, actually the DFG going out onto Voyboy, taking him down to below half health. So Ziken doing a very good job at the top, but their global gold has meant that they're, actually over at mid we see Double Up getting jumped on, gets killed very quickly. Martel taking some tower hits but backs off. So a very big gold lead right now at this stage of the game for Fortnite.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure if it's rust by CLG. They obviously got that first blood that really hurt them, and then Hotshot was counter-jungled to a great extent. I think it's more just a great game plan by Fortnite, and I love when they kind of swap it up like this. I think they always do really well when Zekin gets that Janna. She is frequently banned out from him, though. That's certainly a weakness. And we do see that GG is going for that early Woda. Has Hextech Revolver already, as does Vladimir. So we might see them continue to do this, get that early double Woda, and be really strong mid-game. But as soon as I say that, of course, GG goes back and buys a needlessly large rod, which means his first pickup may or may not be a Woda. Regardless, they do have a lot of sustain for these teamfights. They have that Soraka as well. But before not even let them get them to this team fighting stage. So far, they've been very happy to split push, very happy to get those early towers, and they've built about an 8,000 gold lead, which could potentially disrupt the great team fighting presence that CLG has and has always had in just about every one of their teams.
One Brad is actually going to fight Hotshot right here. Big Fat is coming over to help out. Zikin is here as well, and actually Hotshot getting chunked so much by the Janna. Janna blowing him away. The exhaust going down on Hotshot. Hotshot is going to get taken down. Ken is in a little bit of trouble using that ultimate, but the TF ultimate going to go in, and they're actually turning their attention to Vladimir. Boba getting away in time though, and that is just 1 kill for Fortnite, and it looked like it could have been a lot worse for CLG.
Yeah, I mean, One Bad Brad did get low. He does have that Oracles as well. Zekin ran out of mana in the middle of that fight. Takashi was very low as well, despite having blue buff. So, I mean, it could have gone poorly for CLG. It also could have been turned around on top of Fortnite. But we do see Hotshot dying one more time. He is now 0-5. And on the one hand, you would say, oh, well, he's 0-5. That means, he's not worth that much gold when you kill him. But it is important to kill him because he had that Oracle. So that is essentially 400 gold wasted on him. We do see Chowster has picked it up. They really do need an Oracle on their team just because their jungle is being invaded time and time again. We actually see One Bad Brad has invaded this. Does get the blue buff stolen, and now just has to wait for his safeguard to get away. Hotshot runs in there and does smite that blue buff. So unfortunately, smite not up for One Bad Brad, and he just got walked in on at the wrong time there.
Yep, but he's going to go back, and he has 1,800 gold right now, so should be able to get some good items right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Takashi's build. He actually has, all the components for both Lichbane and Deathcap, but has not finished either one of them. So it's going to be a race to see which one he finishes here. And I'm interested to see what the next item build for the One Bad Brad on Lee Sin will be. It looks like he's built a Ruby Crystal that certainly could turn into an Aegis, could also be a Zeke's Herald. Either way, I am excited to see what it turns out to be.
Yep, the aggressive pushing allowing Fortnite to get yet another tower, so that's 4-0 in towers, and they have almost a 10k gold lead right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Takashi's build. He actually has, all the components for both Lichbane and Deathcap, but has not finished either one of them. So it's going to be a race to see which one he finishes here. And I'm interested to see what the next item build for the One Bad Brad on Lee Sin will be. It looks like he's built a Ruby Crystal that certainly could turn into an Aegis, could also be a Zeke's Herald. Either way, I am excited to see what it turns out to be.
Yep, the aggressive pushing allowing Fortnite to get yet another tower, so
Yeah, it is incredible. And another thing is like Terra's farming down bottom all on his own, and Double Lift is there. And usually, if an AD carry matches up with a Spore, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm just going to kill him." But he can't do that because Teleport is up, TF's ultimate is up, so they have so much presence all around the map. Whether or not they are actually there at the present time, no one can engage without being really, really worried about the potential of those global ultimates. So all the outer turrets are down except CLG's bottom. On the other hand, no turrets are down for Fortnite yet, so just doing a stellar job. 5 turrets to none, and now it looks like they're actually positioning for this Baron. 3 of them could do it, and they actually have Zekit still pushing, TF still pushing, so CLG's probably none the wiser. They probably suspect that the other 3 members are just back at base, and they do throw down the CV, but are they going to be able to get there in time? Most likely not.
Yep, and ggClassic actually is in a little bit of trouble. He's able to take out Kennen, but drops really low. Gabe's flashing in to pick up the kill, and now CLG is coming over. Martel does have to try to get away. He's very low. Hotshot GG going in there with the Dragon form. It looks like Fortnite is going to be able to disengage from this. And now it looks like CLG is going to try to do this Baron. Voyboy putting a little bit of damage on, but actually they do back off. One bread and
Baron was putting a lot more damage on Voyboy than Voyboy was putting on Baron, so that didn't turn out incredibly well for them. But yeah, actually, it was just they were not strong enough to do Baron quick enough. They were delayed for quite a while. The CV didn't come down right on time. They had a little bit of extra time. Takashi did stall them. Flashed in there, did kill Big Fat Gigi, but it just was not enough of a stall and delay tactic to allow them to pick up that Baron. It seemed like a great idea at the time, but they back off. They traded kills 1 for 1, and that's all there was to it.
Yep, so Tristana down at bot, trying to push this lane out so that it keeps on pushing, and Fortnite has done a good job of keeping all the lanes pushed, and that's exactly what allowed them to actually try that Baron in the first place, because they had everything pushing. They had TF and Janna pushing their lanes, and maybe if it wasn't for that CV, they probably would have been able to take that Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a matter of time, and CLG just got there too quick. Of course, very experienced team. They knew something was afoot, something tricky was afoot. But they stopped the Baron. But they're still 10,000 gold down, 10,000 gold, 22 minutes in. So that is, I mean, it's I hate using the term, but it's kind of a huge stomp so far by Fortnite. It doesn't mean that CLG can't turn it around, but they need to change up their strategy. They need to really force some team fights here, and I don't think sending their two big AP people down bottom is the way to go, because of course TF can jump up top at any given time, and it looks like it might be another free dragon for Fortnite. They've taken, I believe, the 2 previous ones, maybe even 3 previous ones. They're going to get another one under the belt and just extend that gold lead.
And one thing to note is that Lee Sin basically has all of the kills. Actually, Hotshot isn't going to get caught out right here. He does get gold carded and so much damage going on him, and one Brad actually being the one to pick up that kill. So he has 8 of the 10 kills. So champions like Tristana and Janna aren't really getting the benefit of this killing spree that Fortnite has been on.
Yeah, they haven't, but they've been giving, the extra time alone in their lanes. Janna up to 200 farm, 23 minutes in, that's pretty good. Takashi already has that Lich Bane, so they're taking these turrets out really, really fast now. You decide to go for that Lich Bane before the death cap. Oh, they do get chunked down pretty good there as they were trying to take the bottom turret, but they did get a little bit of damage on it. It's almost down to half health, so essentially that was a victory for them. No casualties and a good amount of damage on that turret.
And it looks like Janna is actually also going for a Lich Bane now. Building that Sheen and has a blasting wand, so looks like we might also see a Lich Bane and a Lich Bane on Janna as well.
Yep, indeed. So that'll even increase their pushing potential that much more. I do see some people in chat being like, "Oh, if you're 10,000 gold down, you can't team fight." That's true, but CLG's team composition is made exactly for team fighting, whereas Fortnite's team composition is made for just trying to jump in and out of there. And one bad Brad kind of caught out there. Oh
actually,
my goodness,
is the one that gets caught out, getting stunned by Kennen, and actually Kennen took that with the ultimate almost exclusively using the shurikens as well, but so no assist for CLG on that kill, but Pearl basically getting chunked down very quickly.
Absolutely. And it looks like there were some pings. They want to chase down TF. TF does not have his ultimate, so he's going to have to get out of there quick. They do see him backing off, so they back off as well. But yeah, they can force a fight here.
Oh, Zakent is actually, yeah, he got exhausted, blows them away, and then flashes over the wall to get away. So he is fine. And actually seeing that, Takashi X is just keeping up the pressure up top, pushing even more. So CLG has to choose between taking this tower and losing their tower. And it actually looks like they're just going to go for this trade. They're going to try to take down this tower while they lose the top tower. So they do lose it simultaneously. Now CLG is going to back off and try to protect their inhibitors. Big Fat is coming in. Takashi X is going to get that gold card off and is doing so much damage, and Kennen does have to back off, so Takashi X is going to be able to try to take this tower down before the rest of CLG comes in. Throws up some wild cards, and is he going to be able to get it? He does get it, and then is using that ultimate to try to get away, but the Shyvana ultimate comes in, and Graves takes him down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that was a good trade. He obviously knew what he was getting himself into. He, could have gotten away a little bit earlier, then he decided, okay, now I can get this inhibitor. I might have to give up my life for it. Decided to go for that. Of course, he didn't have any sort of killing spree. Is 2 and 3. The only one with the killing spree is that Lee Sin. So he certainly does not want to die because that'll be an extra almost 600 gold to the enemy team. It used to be 500. Has been increased a little bit, but I don't remember the exact number. So 4 not 1 by Brad has to be a little bit careful. Has to make sure he doesn't get caught out here too bad. They do notice that Tristana is down bottom though, so they are going for this Baron.
Yep, and especially with Takashi X dead and with the ultimate down, because he just tried to use it to get away, they know that he's not going to be a factor, so there's only 3 champions that are able to challenge this, and actually doing a lot of damage while they fight Baron, so this could turn out well. One Baron coming in there and does not manage to steal that Baron, but now a fight breaks out, and one Baron is shut down, losing that Oracles as well. Voidboy getting very low, but looks like Fortnite has to back off.
Yeah, they could, I was going to say, they could potentially chase. No one on CLG is actually low enough to warrant a chasing. They do have the TF ultimate coming up soon, but it looks like Fortnite is going to keep on pushing down middle. So, of course, they lost that Baron, lost that 600 extra killing spree gold, which is huge, but they are going to, put some more damage down on this turret. The ultimate comes out from TF, and he's like, oh, they're actually not even close yet. We're going to be able to get this inhibitor, so that's going to be 2 inhibitors, and then they can just back on out. So while CLG has that Baron, they're probably not going to be able to do all that much with it, because both of those top and middle lanes are going to be pushing, and bottom lane is so dangerously low that they can't really leave it for very long. They have to be afraid that minions are going to push, because not only are the super minions in the mid and top lane, but the minions in the bottom lane have also grown stronger now, so that lane will naturally push towards that turret, and they have 2 Lich Banes on their team in addition to a Tristana who can take out that turret and inhibitor so very fast if CLG tries to go on the offensive.
Yep, so, despite that, though, they still were able to get the benefit of the 300 gold for each team member from killing Baron, and they're going to have the Baron buff, so if they, decide to team fight, they are going to have that to help them out in the team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, they are really far behind. That Baron buff is a huge bonus to them, and their team is a really stellar team fight composition. They do now have that Zonia's on Kennen, so he can actually jump in there, and if he gets a good ultimate, he can instantly lock in that Zonia's, and he will not be able to be knocked away by Monsoon, by that Lee Sin ultimate, that Dragon's Rage, or by Tristana. So certainly needed to pick up that item, does have that item now, and his great team fighting presence. Not only does he do massive amounts of damage, but he also can lock himself in place and ensure that he doesn't get, repositioned by the enemy team. So Fortnite still pushing down, but being a little bit, I don't know, they're not incredibly cautious here. One Bad Brad getting in close, but he doesn't have a whole plethora of escape skills. Of course, can Dragon Rage people to get away, can use Exhaust and Safeguard, but does not have Flash, and his team was far away. Now Tristana is coming up, and it looks like they're going to be content to just trying to poke down this lane. Of course, they're going to push in the other lanes and force people to move out of the bottom turret lane to clear out those minion waves, and then they'll just, throw pot shots at that mid turret or at that bottom turret, and every Lich Bane hit from Takashi Prince is going to do about 400 damage, so that's pretty essential.
Yep, and this bot tower is down to about half health, so they're doing a pretty good job of pushing this lane. Janna actually still staying around the mid, but actually Hotshot going in there with that dragon form, try to get in, and they're Kennen going in as well, and using that ultimate to great effect, doing so much damage. You're going to use that Zhonya's, and Martel is going to be taken out as well. One bad using that Dragon Rage to disengage, and Parole trying to get back using the exhaust, and actually going to turn on Voyboy, and he is going to be taken very low. He goes into Pool, but does fall finally to Parole, but they have to get back because
he
takes down one turret. Now he's going to try to get away. Big Fat trying to get closer, but that Tornado comes out, and now that was basically a Nexus turret for 2-to-1 kill. Yeah, for kill basically.
2-to-1.
So it was. I mean, it looked like the team fight went to CLG, but Fortnite didn't end up, too bad off from that.
No, absolutely not. And I like how they have Tristana, who's a stellar late game carry, can attack from so much range, and can be pretty safe with her rocket jump.
Double might be caught out a little bit here. One bad coming in here, but the rest of CLG is coming out. This was again forced to use his ultimate, and now they are backing off. So. Pretty good job by Fortnite to disengage from that. The lanes are going to keep pushing as ping go out as they try to protect this Nexus turret, which is about halfway done, but is going to heal, so they might be able to keep that up a little bit longer. But as you said, CLG is basically confined to their own base right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen CLG come back from impossible situations. At this point, like, they're still, they can almost still win these team fights, as we just saw. They have incredible AoE team fight presence, but, they can't really leave their base. Takashi just popped a blue potion, I believe. Did he pop it, or is he still holding it? No, he did pop it. Has 466 AP, and with that Lich Bane, that means all of those turret hits are going to be coming in at around 500 damage every time he procs that Lich Bane. So very, very dangerous situation for CLG. They have to be careful not to let anyone push. They can't actually overcommit to the team fights because, Zeke, as we saw last time, took down one turret, just while they were trying to fight, and the fight, went in their favor 2-to-1, but then they lost that turret, so they have to make sure their team fights happen and are really quick, and they don't have, Takashi or Zeke backdooring their inhibitors or their turrets, but they are at least getting a little bit of relief here because they do have that top inhibitor back and available. So Fortnite's certainly going to focus their attention there. Baron buff no longer on CLG. What do you think is going to happen in this next team fight, Zero?
Well, I mean, it depends on if there is a team fight, because what Fortnite could do is just put a lot more pressure on and keep the pressure up as they wait for the next Baron to come up. So what they can do is they just keep these lanes pushed so that when they go for that Baron, CLG has nothing, can't do anything about it. Actually, taking a lot of damage from Takashi X, and they're going to try to take down this inhibitor. Meanwhile, Janna is able to take down that bot turret and backs off against Vlad. So a little bit of split pushing going on here. Ping's going down to telling, I think, Janna to fall back, but looks like she's going to actually go for this inhibitor. Vladimir being the only one to really contest it, but Fortnite up at top is doing a good job of not making sure there are no real team fights, just poking down as Janna tries to take down the bottom inhibitor as well.
Yeah, well, she just keeps shielding herself, proccing that Lich Bane, and then going up and just hitting that inhibitor once and then backing away. And it must be incredibly frustrating for Vladimir. I don't know if there's anything he can do about it. Up top, the poke strategy not going too well for either team. Strock, of course, healing up anyone on CLG who gets injured before Fortnite very, very slowly taking down that top inhibitor. It is now down to 1/3 life. The bottom inhibitor down to about half. Middle is actually doing okay, as it hasn't been the focus of anyone's attentions as of yet, before not being very patient in their pushing.
Yep, and they actually backed off, so I wonder if they're just going to, again, try to do the strategy of just going for the Baron when it comes back up. But actually, they're coming back around. Tristana gets that red buff and are looking to maybe catch Soraka and Hotshot. No, they do. Baron is up. The CV does go down, but now they're going to try to catch Big Fat. And CLG is trying to come back as they were caught a little bit out of position because they thought Fortnite was going for the Baron. They take that inhibitor up the top, and now they're going to transition down towards the middle inhibitor. They start hitting at it. Tristana's doing a good job hitting that with her long range. It is pretty late game now, so she has a fairly good range. She does take that out as well, and Janna is working on this inhibitor and is going to take that down as well. So 3 inhibitors down. Fortnite looking very good right now, and they could actually just try to go for the win now instead of going for this Baron. Now, the Tornado going out, and they actually be able to take down this turret, and CLG has to force a fight here. The ultimate coming out from Vladimir, but no follow-up. Hotshot goes in a little bit late, but is blown away and is taking so much damage from the rest of Fornot. Does fall, and Vladimir is trying to go in there as well, but a good job by Fornot. Double kill for Tristana. She is now just trying to... Fornot is just going for the win, and they are going to take the Nexus for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. So really good job on them. All the good game, well played to go out. And it was a really tricky situation by Fornot. You know, they had that Baron time. They pretended like they were going back towards it. They picked up the red buff instead. And then they just circled around. And they're like, oh, well, now we can catch GG out of this here. They do get a stun coming down. Kashi forced Kennen to use that Zonia's just a little bit early. And so then he gets caught out, uses his ultimate, but gets bursted down way too fast. So really great job. Certainly... You know, Lee Sin, a stellar performance in the jungle all throughout there. Hotshot getting caught out one time too many, but that's kind of the curse of being a jungler. I mean, one, you could chalk that up to it as an experience, but really it was just a factor of Fornot had a better game plan strategy. They picked up that first blood, which is of course no fault to Hotshot, and then they were able to control the entire jungle of CLG straight from the get-go, taking away